Beach. Obviously, this is one of them for dirt. I don't know which one's older, don't care. But this one, when you pass Fire Academy, you're looking for, hey, will you hire me, will you hire me? Whether it's Loxahatchee, Loxadonchi, Punta Gorda, Punta Wanta, somebody says, hey, we're interested, we're looking at your resume. Yes. So when you show up at this firehouse, you just got out of Fire Academy, no experience. The ones that are here already, they don't want you to know that this is haunted. Because you may say, well, fuck this, I'm going to the one on the south side, I'm going out to Pennsylvania, I'm going to go up to Juneau. So not unlike Palm Beach haunted places, they don't play this up too much. But the firefighters that stay here, they know. It's not just rookies, it's just the rookies don't know. But anybody that comes to this firehouse, they have a dorm room. It's not bunk beds, but all the beds lined up. Bed. Little nightstand. Kind of military-ish, but not bunk beds. But it's a dorm room. And the ghosts know who is new. So the ones who have been here for a while, they call it a hazing. But it's not so much hazing, it's that they know, and it's not so much a ghost fucking anymore. But the ones who don't know, and they don't want to tell the new recruits, because then they'll be like, I'm out of here. So the new recruits come to this firehouse, and the first night that they're in the dorm room, which would happen, let's say it happens to be them by themselves. It's not like the other firefighters purposely leave them alone, but it's going to happen. So the new recruit is alone in the bunk room, in their bunk, sleeping, catching Z's, and they might take a different breath and adjust the pillow, but then the blanket that's over them, they realize that it's wrapped tight like saran wrap, as if there's hands on each side of the bed, many hands, pulling the blanket down where they can't move. It's one thing to do this, but they can't lift their hands up and get them out from the blanket. And they can't move, and it's that tight they're having trouble breathing, but they can yell, what is going? And the other recruits know when they hear this ruckus coming from the dorm room, they know. And as they come up the stairs, turn down the hallway, and break the threshold of the door, the blanket lets go, and this person can now move around. What the fuck? So the new recruits know that they went through it as well, but this new recruit is like, you're not going to believe this, but, and what do they tell him? Yeah, we knew this, but we didn't want to tell you. I heard this when I was doing the Place You Should Die ride. As we're heading up to Witch's Ball, Tommy at Bicycle calls me. He's got a customer named Jason that was stationed at this firehouse.
Oh, yeah?
And Jason was trying to make it, but he couldn't. But he told Tommy, hey, tell T3 about the firehouse. And this has been corroborated from Jason firsthand. I mean, now it's a perfect urban legend, friend of a friend story. But Jason firsthand said he went through it. And as he looked into it, like dealing with, he's seen that other firefighters there corroborated the story with subtle little differences, but just to say they didn't read it from the same Yahoo page. So the North Palm Beach Firehouse, haunted.
Right there. So, old friend of mine, and I haven't seen him for a while. To the back. If I saw him again, hey, how are you? What's up? Where the fuck you been? Joseph with the mustache. His Monday through Friday was shipping and receiving at one of these clothiers, not ready for, but somewhere in this building where the Sarkeys are, but I didn't want to figure stop soon. So I'm just riding this way. You'll see Saks Fifth Avenue clothing shop, something on a small scale, Palm Beach, 4th Avenue. And the office he worked in, he didn't realize it until I told him. And he's like, you know, some things have been, so he confirmed it. He didn't so much say, yeah, it's fucking haunted. But he said, yeah, I have some weird shit's happening. So as we're riding this way, you look to this side and see this little, not even a department store. But what I've heard, and he confirmed it, in the little office where he works, doors would slam shut, windows would come open, and papers would be thrown across the room. Some spirit spooked something and I wasn't happy. And somebody left the door open. He didn't think that far ahead to go, okay, it's obviously haunted. No, not either, but it's fun.
again, urban legend, friend of a friend. But Joseph with a mustache, he confirmed some freaky shit in the office of shipping and receiving, which who knows what else was in there. I never need to go in there because I don't want to know, because the magic of what, some freaky shit. I don't want to go there and find it myself. Well, there's a fucking draft in the door. No, it's much more fun to hear from somebody who do some freaky shit. So that's just like to the right. To the left, as we go this way, you see that red light? There's a department store to the left that's on the corner, and supposedly before Queen of England's coronation, there was a King of England, I can't remember his name, I think it's 1935. But obviously you have the king, and his eldest son is the prince. He's the heir to the throne. He didn't have a son. Queen of England was the heir because he didn't have a son. But of other cousins and nieces and nephews, there were dukes and duchesses and baronesses. One of these duchesses and her husband frequented this department store on the left. And now, while they weren't in line to the throne, they were still English royalty. And coming over to Palm Beach in 1940, they were treated as such. Ooh la la. So the husband of the two, he usually stood by the door, like, I'll let the wifey shop. But she had an attendant, and as she walked around the store with the representative of the store, she would point, I want this, I want this. And the store liaison would package it up, but her assistant would handle all the shipping arrangements, paying for it. She just walked through the store and I want that, I want that, I want that. So when she and her husband both woke up dead, of all fucking places, they haunt that store. So people would report seeing a well-dressed man by the door, and he looks like he's waiting for his wife, but he's dressed as somebody in 1930, and they're wondering, is there like a circus in town? And they'll see this Duchess woman walking through the store, and she'll point to something. No one around her. The staff in the store know, and they know that if you see this woman dressed this way, just ignore her, because they're not damaging anything or scaring the shit out of anybody. It's just awkward. So that store is haunted. Shipping and receiving here is haunted as we're moving westbound. And while it seems kind of lame, it gets better, worse, scarier, more fucked up from here. At the Chanel store, they used to sell perfume. So there was someone that haunted the Chanel store, and the Chanel is trying to sell perfume, so the people would show up and they would share with me your wells. This is the number, Chanel number 5, I think. I think it was mine first. So that's been their biggest seller, the most popular scent, but then they have number 4, like the Heinz 67. They got a 56, they got a 58. So as people come into the shop to try these different scents, there was someone that was haunting the Chanel store. And there was no open, closing doors, no throwing papers, but they would smell. They would smell whatever you could imagine was the most disgusting smell you can think of. You would smell that when you came inside. And any perfume they put under your nose, all you can smell is rotting garbage, or yesterday's poop, or a dirty diaper, or all three. And the clerks knew, and they had to figure out how do we get rid of the smell. And they found out how to do it. They moved the fucking store. Occurrences to where it's still an issue. And something else good bad about Chanel store is they fail by comparison. That place at one time was a Gucci store. And that is the place I told you that it's not haunted. What's that? The employees of the Gucci store are seeing all kinds of weird things flying around, statues breaking, things knocking over, doors that won't close, everything that fits a haunting. And this affected employees, the owners, the guests, the delivery people, everybody interacting in the store. It wasn't just the employees. Where they're having trouble selling things because bus, marble are flying across the room, smashing. This thing was pissed. So they asked Gucci, what do we do? This is a flagship store. It's on Worth Avenue in Palm Beach. It's not out in Pennsylvania. So Gucci still didn't let it get out in newspapers, didn't want any news stories, didn't want any, they said, we'll deal with it. They called an exorcist. And the exorcist showed up and did whatever they do with the incense, the candles, and the exorcist said, it's possessed, it's not a ghost. And the exorcist told Gucci, after you don't so much communicate with the demon as you look at the cover and read a page or two and you realize, whoa. So this exorcist told Gucci, move. And Gucci's like, are you kidding me? So they called the rabbi, called the cardinal, called the bishop, they called, Rafiki, they called everybody they could, say, who can get rid of this demon? And anybody, they either showed up and said, it's fucked up, or they said, move. So Gucci moved, 2 blocks that way. Been fine ever since. Meanwhile, a company called the Island Company moves in. And the Island Company, the realtor didn't tell him anything. The realtor's like, oh, awesome prime spot on a 2-lane street, walking, you're gonna love it. Island Company moves in, and the same fucked up shit starts happening. And they didn't think to call the realtor, like, hey, why didn't you tell us this? They're like, what the fuck is going on? And as the neighbors next door told them, oh yeah, by the way, there's a demon. It's fine. We're fine, but you're fine. So the Island Company did a little scientific experimentation, and they found that the Island Company, remember when they were there? They had a little Jeep, a little blue Jeep. They wanted the island breeze. They had the air conditioning on, and the doors open, so it's cool inside, but you still have the kind of salty air coming through. When they arrived in the morning, the fucked up shit would happen, but they would open the doors to open for business. End of the day, closing time, they close the doors, and this fucked up shit would happen again. And they realized that when the doors were open, it was fine. So they also had the upstairs and the upstairs. So they realized as long as they have an opening on the north and the south side, I get goosebumps every time I come here. You will too. When you come here, you'll see on, if not the second floor, but the third floor, there'll be an open window. And we're going to go through this little courtyard, and we're going to see the third floor on the south face. And maybe a different open window. So let's fly through the courtyard. With the light.
Yep.
Windows open. Doesn't matter which floor it's on, but they always leave a window, this side and that side open. When they're open during the day, the Island Company would have these side doors open and those doors open on Worth Avenue. So these things still be open too. They always have, as long as the demon had a way to come in and get out. But if one of those two was closed after hours, or maybe, I don't know, these people, Peter Miller, please leave their doors open during the day. But they got the memo. You leave an opening on the south side and the north side. It's fine. But the shit really hits the fucking fan. I get a picture. Something else about this courtyard. Johnny Brown and Our Laddie. Name sound familiar? Not at all. Addison Meisner and Henry Flagler.
Meisner built all South Florida, the two of them between them.
Flagler's Railroads and Meisner, one of the Spanish architecture. So Meisner was the one who, can't say built all of it, it was his design. I want this idea. He had a dog named, no, not a dog, he had a monkey named Johnny Brown.
And call it a well-trained monkey, but you give them enough peanuts and enough banana slices, they're trained.
Yeah, they do
But
whatever you
it was
want.
always with him, always on his shoulder, or down at his side. And wherever he goes, the monkey will be tripping around, walking in circles and giving a shoulder. So Meisner wakes up dead, and it wasn't too long later where Johnny Brown passes away. Johnny Brown's grave is about a block this way and back. We'll go to that. But with Meisner passed away, other people moved into his, I can't remember which place, I think it's on the north side of the street. But he had a second floor courtyard, and the people that took that residence, they had a dog named Our Laddie. And now Meisner's passed away, and that's the only grave on Palm Beach, and it wasn't what it is now. It's still, shopping. They buried Our Laddie right next to Johnny Brown. And both of the headstones were this big. They're the only graves in Palm Beach. So this courtyard, Meisner since passed, and the family who owned Our Laddie, they have passed, and the two animals, the dog and the monkey, have passed. But the two ghosts, the monkey and the dog, became friends. Come on, ghost stories, as they run down the street. All these little staircases you see, they're hidden, but like in this little breezeway here. There's a staircase right here to this archway. See that archway, there's a staircase is conspicuously hidden to not be, a staircase. But as people would walk through these courtyards, they would see a dog and a monkey frolicking with each other, going up and down the stairs, stopping halfway, taunting each other. So if you see a ghost dog, ghost monkey, I mean, I doubt they're going to be like Mr. Stay Puft where you kind of see through them.
Right.
But you're going to, what the fuck am I doing seeing a monkey and a dog? And people will tell you, oh yeah, that's, yeah. So the two graves, they're in a courtyard not unlike this, but there's this silly stupid restaurant that's off the street, and they have tables out, but it's public access. It's not their private dining room. So we're going to come out here and bang a right and go like half a block or a block. Or actually, no, to the left. We'll go to the right first. We're all running together. And we'll go down that little breezeway, down on like this, and we'll see the left side, the little tables. I'm going to ask you to kill your bike lights, because it's one thing we can go see these headstones, another show the bike lights.
Yeah, seriously, well.
But we'll see the two headstones. Keep your bikes with you until we get to the stairs. As we're going west, we'll go past the podium, but lead them up against the stairs of the topi area, whatever it is. And we're going about 20 feet south. So we're right by the lights. No reservations. We're looking at the graves. It's okay. It's public property. Alright, come on.
You're cracking up. You
It's a one-way street. Let's go this way and take a right.
All right. A church group, huh?
I'm telling you, you tell people it's a church group and get away with murder. You know, somebody else is blood all over you.
Okay.
Remember the Cowboys and Chiefs story? The first mayor of Palm Beach was the lifeguard, the chief lifeguard, ran across under the red. They loved me. There's nothing sad about him. He's a hero. So 10 years up, so a following, call it a subsequent, if not maybe the next mayor, but a mayor after him, Mayor of Palm Beach, he was of Russian descent, and he still haunts City Hall. He wore dress shoes, hard heel, hard bottom dress shoes that would click, 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 click as you walked the halls because they're all polished marble with hard floors. So to this day, people that are in their office and have their hallway door open, they would hear what would sound like high-heeled shoes clacking down the hallway. And what separated from other high-heeled shoes was as the footsteps get closer, the whistling would get louder. This person was whistling. When they started to get up and look, there's nobody there, it goes for you. But a former mayor of Palm Beach, and I can find the name I'm sure, but the story is so fantastic. A former mayor of Russian descent still haunts City Hall, walking the halls in his hard shoes, whistling the Russian national anthem. The Royal Poinciana Playhouse. That is one of the more haunted places in Palm Beach. We may go across South Street, but it's coming from the Royal Poinciana Playhouse. Had two brothers running the playhouse, and one was like cooking the books, doing things he shouldn't have been doing, and people didn't know which brother it was. They were blaming them both. This brother did it. This brother was denying it, saying I don't know anything about it. This brother was lying to him, saying I don't know anything about it either. So people didn't know which brother it was. This brother was so distraught because people had like evidence, and you really couldn't tell the brothers were not twins, but they didn't know which one was doing it. And this one was so distraught at being blamed and then coming with this evidence, and he believed his brother, and he's like, why are people conspiring against him? He hung himself. Tied one of the lines around his neck and picked one of the bags to send the curtain up. It sent him up.
Move.
Hung himself from the raft.
Go ahead. Get one pedestrian behind you.
Somehow the other brother, he knew he's guilty of sin, and he had been lying to his own brother, who just killed himself. He hung himself the
No problem, no problem.
So both brothers, they love each other, but why did you lie to me? I wanted to trust you, but I couldn't, and they still give each other so much strife. They still haunt the building and each other
Both
on
hands.
opposite ends of the stage at the Royal Poinciana Playhouse. See the way we came in? That's the only way in and out. And it is like a roundabout, but pill shaped. You come in, you go around, you get out. And this little park in the middle. Don't know too much about it. It's like, what's the backstory? Who is it? Who is it? Nobody knows, but it's been corroborated from several people that Ghost Story runs. A little girl running through this park, not across it, but from one end to the other, west to east, east to west, in a white dress. And this one is kind of spectral, where it's like glowing at night, because they don't see it at noon, they see it at night. And she is screaming her damn fool head off. And they don't see her over here. They don't see her in the parking lot here, roadway, but the grass to the grass on the other side. Maybe going here to there to here. And they wonder, what the fuck am I looking at? And when they tell people, and then, well, did she disappear? Yeah, I couldn't see where she went. It's normal. Don't worry about it. So there's some girl that haunts this grassy lot here, and nobody knows. I've looked at different things, people, sources, stories. What do you know? Either they're not talking, I doubt that. But it's been from more than one source, but it pales by comparison to the mayor and severed heads and hanging themselves. The Flagler Museum.
we're close to the bridge. We're going to go south and cross the bridge. But the Flagler Museum, you familiar with it? We have the parking, the bike rack out front and the gates. Now, imagine we're sitting on that little bike path on the east side, and you look to the west, and you see the gates, and you see the mansion. You have the ground floor, tall windows. Second floor, good-sized windows. Third floor, a little smaller. Ground floor was, of course, dining room, library, living room. Second floor was not guest suites, but Flagler himself, family, wives. Third floor was, call it the help. Not going slaves route, but the people that were employed to keep the mansion running. Flagler haunts the Flagler Museum, Whitehall. They had 4 staircases at each corner. Big staircases, because there's no elevator. As he was coming down one of the staircases, a monkey got under his feet and he tripped and he fell backwards and hit his head on the staircase. He didn't die that day, but he died like 3 or 6 days later. But he haunts the staircase. He was building that mansion for his wife at the time, and his wife passed away before the mansion could be finished. And his wife was very sick. One of his nurses that was attending to his wife, she evidently was pretty good looking, and she was also dipping into the morphine. He fell in love with her and married her. So his second wife was his first wife's nurse, and she was getting more and more into morphine, and now she is this millionaire's wife. Now she has the box totally open. So how do they deal with this lady that was a former employee that now she's a fucking raving lunatic drug addict? So this lady, his second wife, haunts the second floor, and maybe the third floor. But as you're on the bike path outside and you look to the mansion, and like we see this house here to the north, kind of smoked out windows, you can't see any curtains, but she would be looking out the curtains, and you think you see movement, you look at the mansion, and there's someone looking at you at the curtains, and as you look, and your brain says, yes, that is someone looking at me, they would duck behind the curtains and they go straight. So you don't have time to say, hey Randy, there's somebody behind that, they're already gone.
Right.
But you know what you saw. And people see this woman at the curtains, and it's 10 o'clock at night.
You talking about the cottage over there?
No, Whitehall. The mansion itself, not the cottage to the south of that big tree. The mansion itself. Staff there have said that as they have their own, dishes and things for when they do wedding receptions, shit like that. But they also have the period pieces kept in a break front on display. It's all been destroyed. Because as they're doing their work, those cabinets stay shut and locked. And as they come back from break, come back the next day, they see every fucking piece in that cabinet smashed to pieces. The shelves are still there, the doors, windows, there's glass windows. To see these pieces inside, they're on display. Smashed. A little card to say what it is, where it was made, it's still there. But all the pieces smashed, destroyed. It was the first wife pissed at Flagler roofing the nurse and marrying her.
Right.
The nurse, high on morphine, her fucking ghost is not only peering at people out the windows with the curtains, but you're not allowed on the second and third floor. But the people that work at Whitehall say that the ghost on the second floor, and not all of them know who the hell it is, but it's a woman naked from the waist up, so ghost titties are flopping, screaming, waving her arms, running from one end of the hall to the other. And unlike this one where she disappears, she goes to that end of the hall and turns around and comes back. And she's harmless other than that. Well, besides smashing things in the in the kitchen, what have you, locking doors and shutting windows, locking people in the freezer. But nobody's been hurt. But the Whitehall is haunted by Meisner of the Staircase, his second wife, high on morphine, running from one end to the other, topless. And the second wife, I think, smashing everything in the kitchen, pissed off. She was never able to see the mansion finish. She died before that. Come come in the entryway, the staircase will be the left or the right, and there'll be a huge window because it goes up the second floor, so let all the light in. But I think it was the one back by Our Laddie and Johnny Brown's grave, but there's a staircase with a huge window. But a ghost pig, because somebody had a pet pig.
Oh gosh.
And they couldn't bury it on the island, because once those two graves went in, I mean, that's Addison Meisner's monkey, and someone who bought the property from him, so they were... But these subsequent tenants, they had a pet pig. And of course the pig passed away, pigs died, but they couldn't bury the pig. I don't know what they did with it, but the pig sits in a little dog bed inside the window. So if you ever send somebody back by those graves, taking that little hallway, look inside that window and see if you see a little dog bed with a little piglet. I've never seen it, but somebody will see a piglet in a little dog bed, sleeping. And you might see the stomach, like doing one of these, not a toy. And it's a ghost pig that just sleeps there at that staircase right by Johnny Brown and Our Laddie. Ghost pig.
Alright, have a good night, guys.
Oh yeah.
Lights on, alright. I go this way.